Shalom. First of all, I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rukakadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, from which I learned this truth. Peace and blessings to the house of David, doing this work in all righteousness, truth, and sincerity. Now I want to say Shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom. Alright, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, and verse 4, and it reads, "And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever." So the Lord, He took away the understanding of you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, so-called Hispanics, and you so-called Native Americans, which are the seed of Israel. He took away the understanding who we are as a people. And He did that because of disobedience and not hearkening to the Lord's voice, not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. This is the book of Jeremiah chapter 16 and verse 10, and it reads, "And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt show this people all these words, and they shall say unto thee, Wherefore hath the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai pronounced all this great evil against us? Or what is our iniquity? Or what is our sin that we have committed against the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai our power?" Verse 11, "Then thou shalt say unto them, Because your fathers have forsaken me, saith the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and have walked after other gods, and served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my law." You see that? Verse 12, "And ye have done worse than your fathers, for behold, ye walk every one after the imagination of his evil heart, that they may not hearken unto me." See, even unto this day, you got our people, that are not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of their abilities. They've doing worse than what our forefathers did. Back then they were being stiff-necked, and not listening to the Lord, and you got our people still doing the same thing. Verse 13, "Therefore will I cast you out of this land into a land that ye know not, neither ye nor your fathers, and there ye shall serve other gods day and night, where I will not show you favor." So the Lord was going to put us, under a punishment, under a captivity, without knowing who we were as a people. He did that, for punishment. All right, this is the book of Baruch, chapter 4. And verse 5, and it reads, "Be of good cheer, my people, the memorial of Israel. It says, ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because you moved the Most High to wrath. Ye were delivered unto the enemies." Verse 7, "For ye provoked them that made you by sacrificing unto devils, and not to the Most High." See that? So we as a people, we provoked the Lord to anger, and He put us under those curses. Going back to the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. But He said that it was not for our destruction, but for correction. And now we're in the land of our enemies here in Babylon the Great, aka America. All right, this is the book of Baruch, chapter 2, and verse 29, and it reads, says, "If ye will not hear my voice, surely this great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations, where I will scatter them." See, and we were scattered as a people, throughout the four corners of the earth. But the biggest deliverance is going to be here in Babylon the Great. It says, verse 30 says, "For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves." As a people, we're remembering who we are, and gaining back, our heritage. Verse 31, and shall know that I am the Lord their power, for I will give them a heart and ears to hear. See, and that's happening, because the Lord is giving our people the understanding. He's giving our people the eye salve, to see, what who we are as a people. Verse 32, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. See that? That's why that name is important. Yahweh being the Father and Yahweh Shai being the Son. So Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Verse 33, and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers which sinned before the Lord. So this is the book of Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 20, and it reads, it says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, but they shall stay upon the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. Verse 21 says, the remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, unto the mighty power. See, and the Lord is waking up his people. He's waking up the people all over the four corners of the earth, and they're coming back to the ways, of their fathers. So they're remembering the ways of their fathers and returning to the heritage, by keeping the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of their abilities. Keeping the dietary laws, doing the things that are pleasing, to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 50 and verse 21, and it reads, actually we'll start at 19, and it reads, says, thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. And this is speaking about, the Edomites, who we are under, captivity here in Babylon the Great, aka America. It says, thou sittest and speakest against thy brother, thou slanderest thine own mother's son. So this is speaking about Esau, and how he slanders, the Israelites, Jacob. It says, verse 21 says, these things hast thou done, and I have kept silence, and thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself. But I will reprove thee, and set them in order before thine eyes. See, so right now the Lord is setting, and he's been doing it, since the time when Abel Bivens, which is Elijah, came back and brought this truth, and then we're getting that from our apostles and our elders on down of Great Millstone. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 37 and verse 8, and it reads, it says, and when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came up upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. Verse 9, then he said unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, thus saith the Lord power, come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon the slain, that they may live. Verse 10, so I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived, and stood upon their feet, an exceeding great army. The valley of dry bones, and those dry bones, it's going to tell you here in verse 11, it says, then he said unto me, son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. See that? So these bones are the whole house of Israel, and right now that's speaking about the elect waking up, the remnant, coming back, to the mighty power, and this devil, he's right now he's afraid of what's happening. That's why he's moving, with great wrath, with his agendas, that he's trying to bring forth, the charagma, persecution, all the legislation that this devil is pushing forth, because right now the devil is he's in great fear. He's in straits. He's in straits because he knows that the Israelites, are rising up. All right, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 11, and it reads, after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life of God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. See that? So right now they're in fear that they stood upon their feet. That's that great exceeding army. It says the spirit of life that came, from Yahweh entered into them. And that, and that 3.5 days is representing that roughly 350 years of Israel not knowing who they were as a people. But again, beginning with Abba Bivens, which was Elijah coming back, and then the apostles, a great millstone, and the elders on down, pushing forth this word. The spirit is beginning to gather, the elect, the remnant. The spirit, is gathering, those that the Lord has given the eye salve, to see this truth. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5 and verse 1, and it reads, Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and had made no account of his labors. So you see the men, of great millstone, and those that teach the likewise doctrine, bringing out this truth, basically, casting down, this devil, telling this devil, these Edomites who they are, the so-called white man, and telling our people who they are. You so-called Negroes, so-called Hispanics, and you so-called Native Americans, that you are the seed of Israel. You are the biblical Israelites. And these devils are getting word of it, and they're in great fear. This is the this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 13 and verse 2, and it reads, Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt thy voice unto them, shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. See, and that's happened. You see these these elites, they understand what's going on. They understand who we are as a people, and right now they're in great fear. Again, that's why they're trying to push forward, with their agenda, because they believe, well, the Lord has put it in their minds that they can defeat the Lord, with their technology, with their sword, because they were blessed with that sword. So they believe that they can defeat the Lord. But when the Lord comes, when he comes back with his mighty angels, and those chariots, the Lord is gonna destroy this devil, along with the weapons of his indignation, which are those missiles, that are gonna be shot off, beginning with Russia, and these other nations that are gonna come against Babylon the Great, aka America. All right, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 14 and verse 3. Says, And they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. See, and that's what the men of the Lord that are out on the highways and byways, again, casting down this devil, they're singing that new song. And this devil, he's in great fear. So the Lord is setting the Israelites in order right before the eyes, of these devils. And these devils right now, they're in straits. They're in straits because they're understanding what's happening amongst Israel. They see Israel coming back into their heritage, and right now they're moving with great wrath. So Lord willing, we can endure to the end, and stay prayed up, because there's a lot of tribulation coming and persecutions, great persecutions that are going to come upon our people. So we got to stay prayed up, and endure to the end. So again, the Lord is setting Israel in order before the eyes of these devils. All right, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, from which I learned this truth. Peace and blessings to the house of David, doing this work in all righteousness, truth, and sincerity. And I want to say shalom to the hopeful elect. Alright, Shalom.